Slide. Hi students, welcome to VerandaRace, and in today's session we are going to discuss some error spotting questions. And let me tell you that these questions will be easier questions because as compared to our previous classes in which we have discussed very difficult questions, I have added some easier questions so that your life becomes easier. Your life becomes easier a bit. So I have put some easier questions. So let us start today's session. So error spotting is our topic for today. So these are the questions. He submitted the request for compensation of time, but it was denied. He submitted the request for compensation of time, but it was denied. So what's the answer to the first question? He submitted the request for compensation of time, but it was denied. Any answers? Okay, I'll tell you the answers because we have limited time and we have to discuss 30 questions. So I'll proceed. He submitted the request for compensation of time, but it was denied. So there's no error in this question, but I'll just discuss one thing from you. What's the difference between if you put up a request for something, is it denied or is it rejected? Just the question. Yes, Shrija, good morning, Shrija. So is it rejected or denied? So I declined his proposal, rejected his proposal, rejected his request. So the best answer would be to remove denied and put across rejected. Request was rejected. This is the error we can put. So the answer would be 4, in which denied will be replaced by rejected. That's the best answer I can give you as of now. Yes, good morning, Farhat, Panu, Manjot Singh, good morning. So it will be rejected. So he submitted a request for compensation of time, but it was denied. See, denial is of something, denied means some truth which you don't accept. A fact which you don't accept is, we use denied for that. So I would say I'll retract from my previous statement which was no error. I'll put rejected over here. It was rejected, declined or rejected, not denied. Denied is something which is used for non-acceptance of a truth or a fact. Fine. So it's rejected with the best answer. 4 has an error. So you must be wondering how come you said, sir, that it was easier today, but it's difficult. So denied is not the correct word. It should be rejected. It's also part of the verb chapter in which we get confusing words. So denied should be replaced with rejected. Next question. Unfortunately today many parents cannot afford to send its children to school. So easy a question. So it should be their children to school. Unfortunately today many parents is plural, so cannot afford to send their children. Its should be replaced by their. Its should be replaced by their. Next. He was convinced that he lost the account because of bad luck. Okay, so it should be that he lost, L-O-S-T. Now I won't answer because I would expect you all to answer the question. So what's the error in the third one? I have already told you. He was convinced that he lost the account because of bad luck. So error is in part 3. Fine. Moving ahead to the next question. Many customers have complained because his goods was inferior in quality. So what's there in this question? Many customers have complained. Till now there's no error in the question because his goods. So goods is basically, good is an adjective, and goods is, we talk about when we say the word goods, it means commodities. So commodities, in terms of commodities, goods means products or commodities. So it should be were, W-E-R-E. His goods were inferior in quality. Clear? The fifth question, the fifth question. In his opinion, every senior citizen will benefit from the new rule. Okay. So we can see this every is a determiner which always takes a singular object after it. It's a determiner. It quantifies the object which is placed after it. So it should be every senior citizen and not citizens. The answer would be, in his opinion, every senior citizen will benefit from the new rule. So these were the answers of the first 5 questions. Let me reiterate that all these questions which I am going to make you practice today are very easy questions, so that you gain some confidence. Unlike our previous classes in which I have discussed some really difficult questions and you were a bit demotivated. I am sorry for that. So, but today is a refresher in those terms, because this would motivate you to accept that English is rather an easy subject. That's what the common perception is. Lost, perfect, there. Lost, 3, there. Very good. So people are online. I'm expecting more people to come. Let's move ahead to the next segment, next slide, I would say. So the question number 6 would be, the club has lost a lot of business because of poor maintained facilities. Very easy question, but you would find it difficult to identify the error. Let you all try. The club has lost a lot of business because of poor maintained facilities. Anyone would like to answer this question? Shrija, Deepika, Guru Prasanna, Asina, Manjot Singh, Farhad Banu. Anyone would like to answer this question? So the error is in part 3. The club has lost a lot of business because of poorly maintained facilities. Maintained is what? Maintained is kind of adjective has been used here, because you know maintain is a verb, but when it is used in the past participle sense, past participle as in maintain, maintained, maintained. So facilities is a noun, so it behaves like an adjective. So before an adjective, an adverb is placed, so it should be poorly maintained facilities. So it should be poorly. Poor is again an adjective. An adjective cannot qualify an adjective. So poor maintained facilities is incorrect. Poorly maintained facilities is correct. So error was in part 4. So no, in part 3, because poor is a part of this third error, third section. Okay. No. So the village has electricity today only because of the efforts of few dedicated engineers. Okay. The village has electricity today. So you all are not answering. I'm shocked because you are online. Okay, am I doing it very fast? I'm not sure. Well, the village has electricity today only because of the efforts of few dedicated engineers. So many people would think, many students would think that there's an error in this part, few dedicated engineers. But we often say, right, there are few good men who are taking care of the society. Few good men, few good people. So in this case, should it be a few or few? Let us revise the question. The village has electricity today because of the efforts of few dedicated engineers. So few here means no, none. So it cannot be no dedicated engineers. So it should be a few. A few means some. Few means none. A few means some. The few means all that are. All that are. For example, the few friends I have are poor. It means all the friends I have are poor. I have a few friends means I have some friends. I have few friends means I have no friends. So here it should be a few dedicated engineers, which means some. Why can't maintenance? Which question? Of poor maintenance facilities. Yes, that's a good question. Very good. So that's Ranjit Seladurai says, sir, why can't maintenance? Let's answer this question. The club has lost a lot of business because of poor maintenance facilities. Okay, it sounds a bit weird, I would say, Ranjit. Poor maintenance facilities. Because you see, the sense of the sentence is like, if you see poorly maintained facilities, it's a better answer. But if you say poor maintenance facilities is like poor maintenance facilities. Yeah, that can be a probable answer. So this is a confusing, a very good point you have, Ranjit, you have raised up a very good point. So we'll come back to this question later on. It's not that I don't know the answer, it's because I'll discuss this question in detail. But the answer is poorly maintained facilities, 100% the correct answer. But your question is quite logical. You would say, we would say because of poor maintenance facilities. Sounds good, but let us come back to this question. So the next question, the company has appointed consultants. So this is a few dedicated engineers, which means some dedicated engineers. So, okay, Ranjit, very good question. The village has electricity today because of the efforts of a few means some dedicated engineers. Next question. The company has appointed consultants to help them increase its revenue and improve its financial position. So we are talking about the company appointed consultants to help it, because we are talking about the company. Company is singular, so we should use the pronoun it for the company, not their. So we have them or their. So what the answer should be? The company has appointed consultants to help it increase its revenue and improve its financial position. That is the correct answer. So error was in part 2. So we have marked 2 as the answer. Next question. The cost of the new machines is likely to be so high as 10 times the existing ones. Quite an interesting question. So the cost of the new machines is likely to be so high. So it should be as high as, not so high as. Answer would be the cost of the new machines is likely to be as high as 10 times the existing one. So why as high as and why not so high as? So high as is used when the sentence has not in its preceding part. So had there been not over here, we would have chosen so. So for example, he is not so intelligent as his brother. He is not so intelligent as his brother, but he is as intelligent as his brother. In that case, because the second sentence, as I told you, he is as intelligent as his brother, it's a positive sentence. That's why we use as plus as. So the cost of the new machines is likely to be as high as 10 times the existing ones. Okay. It, yes, Darshini Guru, correct. Next question. The NGO provides free daily meal to them who live below the poverty line in rural areas. Okay. It's a good, interesting question. The NGO provides free daily meal to them who live below. So see, this is a relative pronoun. Who is a relative pronoun, after who the verb is decided based on the antecedent that comes here. So who has an antecedent? Them, and the verb is decided according to this antecedent. So here it should be those and not them. The answer would be those. I'll tell you why. So you must have heard this axiom that God helps those who help their fellow men. God helps those who help their fellow men. Based on the same statement, we can say the NGO provides free daily meal to those who live below the poverty line in rural areas. So why not them? Them who live. See, them is an objective case pronoun. So it cannot be followed by a relative pronoun who, which is a subjective case relative pronoun. So it should be those, which is a demonstrative pronoun. So we help those who help themselves. We respect those who respect us. This is a correct statement. Okay. So moving ahead to the next segment. So we have to come back to question number. This question the club has lost because Ranjit says it should be poor maintenance facilities, and I am saying poorly maintained facilities. So we have a point to discuss a lot. A lot of brainstorming has to be done. So let's move ahead to the next segment. The reports suggest that the project is behind schedule. The reports suggest that the project is behind schedule. Behind schedule. Schedule is something which is a list of all the events that are going to take place. So the report suggests that the project is behind schedule. Behind schedule would be a bit dicey, I would say, but I'll expect an answer from others as well. Igor Makarov, I don't know what is posting. The report says that the project is behind schedule. So what is the meaning of schedule? Schedule means the routine, right? The listing of all the events that are going to take place. For example, if I make a schedule like behind time would be fine, I think. His report suggests that the project is behind time. I think there is no error in this question. Let's mark it as no error because there is actually no error. The report suggests that the project is behind schedule. Schedule means some routine which is behind that. Okay. He is a great leader who inspired people to achieve freedom through non-violent means. He is a great leader who inspired people to achieve freedom through non-violent means. So it's a sentence which is in past tense. To achieve freedom through non-violent means. So we have two contradictory statements. One is and one is inspired. Either we have to change is into was, or we have to change inspired into inspires. So let us see what we can do about that. He is a great leader who inspired people To achieve freedom. Freedom, okay, let us assume that freedom was achieved in 1947. In that case, it should be was. He was a great leader who inspired people. Because one sentence starts with is, so either, wait. He is a great leader who inspires people to achieve freedom. See, achieving freedom is something past. You understand that, right? Was, yes, correct. So it should be was, because very good, Ranjit Seladurai. So it should be was, because freedom has been achieved. So it's a past tense, right? So we'll write as he was a great leader who achieved freedom through non-violent means. Okay? Was will be the correct answer. An estimate 40 lakh workers will benefit from the amendment in the Act. An estimated 40 lakh workers will benefit from the amendment to the Act. Well, it should be in as well. Amendment in the Act. So we have error in two parts. Not a worry about that. Amendment in the Act is better. An estimated 40 lakh workers will benefit from the amendment in the Act. Amendment to the Act, there is an amendment in the Act. So in the Act will be better. An estimated 40 workers. So this question has two errors. No problem in that. At least we are able to identify there are errors, right? Inspires. Asina Shayub says inspires. Okay, see what is the problem with inspires is. So we have said that to achieve freedom through non-violent means. Okay, so it's something that freedom has been achieved. So it's a past tense action. So we'll replace is with was. Okay. I think you're convinced. Estimation of. An estimation of 40 lakh workers will benefit from. No. An estimation of 40 lakh workers did this kind of thing. An estimation of 40 lakh workers. An estimation of 40 lakh workers was made by the company. That would have been correct, but an estimated 40 lakh workers is better answer, I think. An estimated 40 lakh workers will benefit from the amendments in the Act. You cannot say an estimation of. An estimation of 40 lakh workers was done. So estimation is an action which has been done by the company. You understand that, right? Okay. What satisfies a teacher the most is the excitement of students when they learned something new. They learn. It should be learn. They learn because it's a general statement. It's a general statement. It's a general statement which means generally it happens. So when what satisfies a teacher the most is the excitement of students when they learn something new. Learn means it's a general statement, general action. So it should be learn. Okay. She is the first woman to be appointed as president since the company was established from 1950. So it should be in 1950. Why in 1950? Because it's an action, it's an event that happened in the past in a certain year. So for years we use in 1950, in 1996, in 1984, in 1947 this way. So she is the first woman to be appointed as president since the company was established in 1950. Okay. Mayuri Kumaravel says 2. To be appointed as. Mayuri. Okay, please mark the question numbers as well. Okay, don't have question numbers, sorry. So what I'll do is, Ranjit says in, correct? In is correct. Fine. You mentioned the error, Mayuri. Mayuri, please mention the error. Okay. Next question. The principle that a pen is mightier than a sword was known to early Greeks. So it shouldn't be then, it should be than. It should be than. The principle that a pen is mightier than a sword, because mightier is comparative degree, so it must be followed by than. Okay. The principle that a pen is mightier than a sword was known to early Greeks. Please close the door. Okay. Martha missed her dog who died of a skin infection at a very young age. Okay. Martha missed her dog who died of a skin infection at a very early age. So what's there in this question? Die of a disease. That's true. That's no problem in that, because you die. One dies in an accident. One dies of a disease. One dies with an action. For example, he died from overeating. Not with, from. He died from overeating. He died in an accident. He died of a disease. So it's a disease. So died of a disease is fine. Martha missed her dog who died of a skin infection at a very young age. I think there's no error, because we might think that it should be Martha misses her dog. But still, it's in the past, it's quite possible that she missed her dog, because okay, then if it is past tense, Martha missed her dog who had died of, because the dog died earlier and she remembered her later on. She missed her later on. It missed it later on. So the answer would be Martha missed her dog who had died of a skin infection at a very early young age. Okay. One more thing, we cannot use who for a dog, so it should be that. We cannot use who for an animal, so it will be Martha missed her dog that had died of a skin infection at a very early. Means the error was in part 2. No doubt in that. Shweta says no error. In which question? Okay, this one. Martha missed her dog that had died, or that died of a skin infection. We cannot use who for a dog. I'm sure of that, right? We cannot use who for a dog. Dog is considered to be an object. We use it pronoun for a dog, so it should be that. And since it happened earlier, it should be that had died of a skin infection. Fine. So 2 has an error. There was such a crowd that he would not find his brother. It should be could. It should be could not find his brother, because it talks would is like a possibility kind of thing in the past. So it should be could means an ability. He was not able to find his brother. So it should be there was such a crowd that he could not find his brother would be the correct answer. So error is in part 3. Next question. Having managed the team, for pet animals we can use who? Pet animals we can use who? Okay, let me come back to that. Who has said this? Shweta D. Okay, Shweta, I'll come back to your answer. Could is correct. Darshani Guru. Manjot Singh 3. Okay, fine. So, I'll come back to this question. We have 2 questions to come back to. One is this one and one which Ranjit had put up a question, right? So, we'll come back to this question. For pet animals, can we use who? Let's see. Having managed the team 2 years, he knew his players well. So, the error is in part 2. It should be team for 2 years. Having managed the team for 2 years, he knew his team players well. So, error is in part 2. Team for 2 years. That should be the correct answer. Fine. Because of heavy rains, the trains are disabled to run on time. So, this is incorrect, because error is in part 3. It should be unable to. Unable to. Disabling means to make it dysfunctional. Making something dysfunctional is known as disable, and something which is not able to perform its task is known as unable to perform its task. So, we say this is dysfunctional, so it means disabled. But when we say unable to, it means it's not able to. Are you getting my point? Not able to means not able to perform its task. So, the error is in part 3. Because of heavy rains, the trains are unable to run on time, not disabled. Okay, fine. Next question. So, we have to come back to 2 questions. One was poor maintenance facilities, and this was the dog question, right? Fine. Next question. The state government has sent reports to the center on the situation. Okay. So, it should be has sent. S-E-N-T. Why has sent? Because has plus V3. Send, sent, sent, sending, sends. So, V3 past participle should be sent. So, the state government has sent reports to the center on the situation. Clear? Okay. Whether a person takes to smoking depends a lot in his social network. Okay. So depends is followed by on, not followed by in. So it should be on. So the answer should be whether a person takes to smoking depends a lot on his social network. Sent, correct. Asina Shayu, Darshini Guru sent, correct. Every home and office needs the latest and equipment for keep up with times. Okay. Every home and office needs the, so this is correct. Every home and office is a singular entity, so needs is fine. Needs the latest equipment is fine for keep up. So it should be to keep up with time. So for to keep up would be the correct use because it's talking about a purpose. So if I say I went to school to see the principal, so it's a purpose, right? I have a certain purpose in my mind. So I went to school to see the principal, that's a purpose. But if I say I was thrown out for cheating, it's a cause effect relationship. For example, the result, I was thrown out for cheating. So here the purpose is there to keep up with bad times. So this should be to keep up and not for keeping up with bad times. So this is third part has an error. Okay, next. To correct Manjur. The idea of turning invisible with the swish of a clock have always fascinated scientists. So it should be has always fascinated because it talks about the idea of turning invisible. The idea of turning invisible with the swish of a clock has always fascinated scientists. Has because it talks about the idea is singular, right? Okay. She had seen the approaching truck and had jumping out of the way. So she had seen the approaching truck and had jumped out of the way. This should be the correct answer. Clear? So we have to return to two questions. Remember, one dog question, the pet animal question, and one was poor maintenance facilities. I think the last set of questions. Some of our staff is worried that as soon as the project is over, they will lose their jobs. Some of our staff, see, some of is always followed by a plural entity. So some of our staff are worried should be the correct answer. See, some means staff is, the plural of staff is not staffs, it is staff only. But some of our staff are, because are will follow some means some entity more than one. So some of our staff are worried would be the correct answer. So I'll mark 1 as the error. Some of our staff are worried that as soon as the project is over, they will lose their jobs. Fine. Next question. Correct Darshini, correct Ranjit. Okay. If you decide to hold the function in Kolkata, not much of us will be able to attend. Okay. So much of us, there are errors in this part because not many of us. This is the correct answer. Because for people we use many and not much. Much is used for uncountable nouns, but for people we use many, not much. Okay. Next. In case you need 5 people to run a branch, you should be selected 10 since some may leave. Okay. In case you need 5 people to run a branch, you should select. It should not be should be selected. You should select. It should be an active voice, right? Because you are the doer, you are the performer of the action. So it should be you should select 10 since some may leave. So if you, in case you need 5 people to run a branch, you should select 10 since some may leave. That is the correct answer. So error is in part 3 has an error. Next question. Although he approached many private businesses to invest in his printing business, nobody was interested. Okay. Although he approached many private businesses to invest in his business, nobody was interested. I think there is no error. Because although he approached many private businesses to invest in his printing business, nobody was interested. There is no error in this question because it's a kind of contradictory statement which is related through although. So it means he approached many people, but few were interested. Nobody means few were interested. Few means none. Remember this. Okay. How can you give up this job when you are just about to be appointed for general manager? So this for shouldn't be here because appointed general manager. So who says were? Which question were you saying? Asina Shiv? Was interesting. How can you give up this job when you are just about to be appointed general manager? This will be the correct answer. Appointed general manager. 4 has an error. Appointed is not followed by for. It's a transitive verb, so it should be appointed general manager. That it should be directly followed by a complement, I would say. Okay. So this has been done. Fine. Moving ahead. So before we say thank you to you, let's go back to the questions which were to be discussed by us. Okay. So somebody said, who said it should be a dog is a pet, so we can use who for that. For Shweta D says, for pet animals we can use who, question mark. Okay. Martha missed her dog who died of a skin infection at a very young age. So I have a pet dog who disturbs me a lot. I have a pet dog that disturbs me a lot. Fine, pet dog. So pet animals we should use because animals are in any case considered to be not a non-living thing, I would say, but not humans. And we know that who is used with human beings for pet dog. There's not a certain rule like that we can use who for pet animals as such. But I'll dig something out of this. Nana missed a dog who died of a. I think it should be that. That died of a. So error is in part 2. Error is in part 2. Martha missed her dog that died of a skin infection. So, and for animals we cannot use who. I'm sure of this. Okay. Asina, you've sent something. Okay, what's that? Business, nobody where. Okay, let me go back to that question. So here it should be that. Okay. Nobody were. No, nobody is followed by is or was. It cannot be were. Nobody were interested. No, that's not correct. Nobody is not any entity. It's basically considered to be singular entity. So it cannot be nobody were interested, nobody was interested. That will be the correct answer. Okay? Are you convinced? Shweta D? Okay. So now, Asina Shiyub, it should be nobody was interested. Fine. Now let's go back to the question of Ranjit when he said that it should be poorly. Yeah, this question. First question. Let's discuss this. So I have given you the correct answer, but there's a probability of one more answer to this question. So let's discuss that also. Okay. The club has lost a lot of business because of poor maintenance facilities, poorly maintained facilities. That's a very good question, Ranjit. I really appreciate you. Okay. So the club has lost a lot of business because of poor maintenance facilities, and I'm saying poorly maintained facilities. Now let us have a discussion on this question. Poorly maintained facilities is something which shows that the facilities were not properly maintained, which is already a habitual kind of thing. It was not done. Poor maintenance facilities means something which is prevalent. You understand this? Something which is prevalent. So when we say poorly maintained facilities, it means, both are correct. Poor maintenance facilities, poorly maintained facilities, both are correct. But if the question is like kind of this, so you would say it should be maintenance facilities. So you would say it will be answer question, error is in part 4, and I would say error is in part 3. That would be a dispute, I guess. So in this case, let it be a disputable question. Maybe I have not maybe I have not segregated the parts in a correct way. So it can be like this. If it is like this, poor maintenance, so we'll mark 4 as the answer. Poor maintenance facilities or poorly maintained facilities, both are correct. So the distribution or the segregation of the sentence has not been properly done. I accept this. Ranjit, salute to you. Great question from your end, I guess, right? So now I would end the session because we have completed all the 30 questions. I hope you all enjoyed the session a lot. Thank you so much. We'll meet tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and tonight at 7 p.m. we have a Hindu editorial discussion, and today will be a common error approach. So today's day is totally dedicated to error spotting, common error approach. Thanks a lot.